When it comes to electing the President of India, the process is unlike the general elections we're used to. Unlike the US or France, where citizens directly elect their president, India's president is chosen indirectly. The responsibility falls on our elected MPs and MLAs, not the general public. This system ensures the president is a consensus candidate, reflecting India's federal structure and unity. The framers of our constitution designed this indirect method to prevent a direct contest for executive power and to keep the president above party politics. The president's role is symbolic, representing the nation's unity, not wielding day-to-day power. The election is a careful exercise in political consensus, not a popularity contest. Understanding this process reveals the unique character of India's democracy. In India, the president serves as the ceremonial head of state, symbolizing the unity and integrity of the nation. The president is the highest constitutional authority, representing India at home and abroad, and upholding the values enshrined in the Constitution. In contrast, the Prime Minister is the head of government, responsible for running the country's administration and making key policy decisions that affect the daily lives of citizens. The President's role is largely formal and symbolic, such as signing bills into law, appointing officials, and representing India at state functions. However, the President acts on the advice of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, ensuring that real executive power remains with the elected government. The Prime Minister, on the other hand, leads the executive branch, chairs cabinet meetings, formulates national policies, and is directly accountable to the Lok Sabha, the lower house of parliament. This means the Prime Minister must maintain the confidence of the majority of elected representatives. This clear separation of roles ensures that the President remains politically neutral and above party politics, while the Prime Minister is the face of the government and reflects the people's political will and aspirations. In the United Kingdom, a similar system exists where the monarch is the ceremonial head of state, performing traditional and symbolic duties, while the Prime Minister leads the government and makes policy decisions. In contrast, the United States combines both roles in the President, who serves as both head of state and head of government, wielding significant executive authority and acting as the nation's chief representative. These distinctions in leadership roles shape each country's political structure, influencing how power is distributed, how decisions are made, and how leaders are held accountable to the people. India's model, with its clear division between head of state and head of government, helps maintain stability, prevent the concentration of power, and ensure democratic accountability. Understanding these distinct roles is essential for appreciating how different democracies function and why the separation of ceremonial and executive powers matters in shaping a nation's governance. Unlike general elections where citizens cast their votes directly, the President of India is chosen through a unique process. Instead of the public, an electoral college made up of elected members of parliament, MPs, and members of legislative assemblies, MLAs, from all states and union territories, is responsible for this important decision. Each vote in this college carries a specific value. For MLAs, the value of their vote is determined by the population of their respective states, ensuring that more populous states have a proportionate influence in the election. Meanwhile, MPs' votes are calculated so that the total value of all MPs' votes matches the combined value of all MLAs' votes, creating a careful balance between the states and the center. This system is designed to ensure that both the union government and the individual states have an equitable and fair say in the selection of the president, reflecting the federal nature of India's democracy. The election itself uses the single transferable vote system. Here, voters don't just pick one candidate. They rank the candidates in order of preference, which allows for a more nuanced and representative outcome. To be declared the winner, a candidate must secure a specific quota of votes, calculated based on the total valid votes and the number of candidates. If no candidate reaches this quota in the first round, the one with the fewest votes is eliminated, and their votes are transferred to the next preferred candidate as marked on each ballot. This elimination and transfer process continues through several rounds, gradually building consensus until a single candidate emerges with the required support. The system is designed to promote broad-based support, ensuring that the president is not just the first choice of a few, but acceptable to a wide spectrum of representatives from across the country. Though complex, this indirect and layered method is deeply democratic, mirroring the diversity and pluralism of India's society and political structure. Ultimately, the president stands as a symbol of unity, representing the collective will and wisdom of the nation's elected lawmakers. This indirect election process is not just a constitutional formality, it is central to India's federal and parliamentary character, ensuring that every corner of the nation has a voice in choosing its head of state. Comparing India's system with the US and UK highlights key differences. In the US, the president is both head of state and government, elected through an electoral college, often winner-take-all in each state. This can result in a president winning without the popular vote. The US president wields vast executive power, unlike India's ceremonial president. In the UK, the monarch is a hereditary ceremonial head of state, while the Prime Minister leads the government and is accountable to Parliament. The UK system emphasizes party and legislative control, not individual power. India's president is chosen by consensus among elected representatives, not by direct or hereditary means. These models reflect each country's history and approach to balancing power. Understanding them clarifies why India's indirect, consensus-based system is unique. France's semi-presidential system blends direct and parliamentary models. The French president is directly elected for 5 years and holds significant authority, especially in foreign affairs. If no candidate wins a majority in the first round, a runoff decides the winner. The president appoints a prime minister who must have parliamentary support and handles domestic policy. When the president's party lacks a majority, cohabitation occurs. Power is shared, often uneasily between president and prime minister. This can cause political tension, but it's a core feature of the French system. In contrast, India's president is always bound by the prime minister's advice, ensuring clear separation. These differences show how countries tailor their systems to their unique needs. The President's office is defined in Articles 52 to 62 of the Constitution. These articles collectively lay the foundation for the highest constitutional office in India, outlining not just the powers and duties, but also the checks and balances that ensure the President acts within the framework of parliamentary democracy. Article 52 establishes the office. It simply states that there shall be a President of India, making the position a constitutional necessity and the ceremonial head of the Union. Article 53 vests executive power in the President, to be exercised on the advice of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. This ensures that while the President is the formal head, real executive authority rests with the elected government, maintaining the spirit of democracy. Articles 54 and 55 detail the electoral college and voting method. The President is elected indirectly by an electoral college, which includes elected members of both houses of Parliament and the legislative assemblies of the states, ensuring broad representation. Article 56 sets the 5-year term. Re-election is allowed, though 2 terms is the norm. This term limit provides both continuity and the opportunity for change in leadership, reflecting the evolving will of the people. Article 58 lists qualifications: Indian citizenship, at least 35 years old, and eligible for Lok Sabha. These requirements ensure that only experienced and responsible individuals can aspire to the nation's highest office. The President cannot hold an office of profit, preventing conflicts of interest and ensuring impartiality in the discharge of duties. Article 60 prescribes the oath. The President swears to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the law, upholding the sovereignty and integrity of India. Article 61 covers impeachment for constitutional violations. This rare and serious process ensures accountability at the highest level, reinforcing the President's responsibility to the Constitution. The 2022 election of Draupadi Murmu as President marked a historic moment for representation, as she became the first tribal woman to hold the office, symbolizing progress and inclusivity in Indian democracy. These articles ensure the President's role is constitutional, inclusive, and stable, providing a strong foundation for the functioning of the world's largest democracy and safeguarding the values enshrined in the Constitution. For UPSC aspirants, mastering the President's role is absolutely crucial for success in the exam. Focus on Articles 52-62, especially the electoral process, powers, and impeachment provisions in detail. Compare India's system with the US, UK, and France. Note differences in election, powers, and accountability structures. Understand the President's discretionary powers, like appointing a Prime Minister in a hung parliament scenario. Link static knowledge with current events, such as recent elections and Supreme Court judgments for deeper insight. Each system, presidential, parliamentary, semi-presidential, has strengths and weaknesses shaped by history and context. India's indirect consensus-based model upholds unity in diversity, reflecting the nation's unique character. Practice writing balanced analytical answers to excel in the exam and stand out among other candidates. If this helped, like the video, share it with your UPSC group, and comment below, which system, presidential or parliamentary, do you prefer and why? Subscribe for more high-quality UPSC explainer videos.